back to episode 39 of the Hops and Bops podcast. I'm Tom as always, and it is the 20th of June, which means it's Father's Day, and of course, how could I not have my very own father figures on? Mike and Joe will be back very soon. Don't worry, they'll be on next episode. We have a great one coming up for that. But, I didn't realize it was coming out on Father's Day, so I had to have someone who was just like a father to me, one of the best father figures of my life, Mr. Robert 𝗵𝗂𝗃.
Thanks, Thomas. What an introduction. I got a lot to live up to now. I don't know what the hell I'm going to do.
And of course my own father, Bill, is here.
I'm glad to be here. It's a lot of fun. I'm glad to be doing with Bill, his favorite album probably of all time, right?
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
Right. Yeah. So let's introduce what we're doing if you haven't seen it by yet. We're doing Bruce Springsteen's Born to Run is the album of choice, and the beer we have chosen is Hop Culture's 𝗕cie in the 𝗕cie𝗿𝗄𝗆, a New England IPA with 7% alcohol per volume.
Oh, is it that much? Good.
Yeah. This is a very local brewery for us. We have gone there multiple times. They're still small scale. They don't really sell a lot of their 4-packs. They don't really distribute too much. I actually went there and they were all sold out of their 4-packs of everything. So I had to get a growler can. So we just got a big quart of 𝗕cie in the 𝗕cie𝗿𝗄𝗆. This is their flagship beer, as I was told.
Okay.
And they've got a lot of nice beers there. They've got one called 𝗵𝗆. They've got an Eleanor. We do trivia there on Thursdays. And
fizzier than I expected.
The 𝗵𝗆 is excellent. I mean,
I go right down the list.
The ciders are really good.
Yeah.
We always have people getting the ciders and stuff like that.
Thomas, thanks for having us on today.
Of course. Thank you, guys.
I'm excited to announce that this was voted best podcast in a recent poll.
Really?
Yes, and I hear that you could be up for producer of the year. So
it's up for debate. There's a lot of talk going around. I don't want to start too much drama.
I think Bob and I are going to kind of low-key this because we really don't want to be so good that people are demanding that Joe and Mike be replaced. So we'll downplay it
some
today.
Bad won't be on purpce.
Yeah,
so that's what we're saying. So
that is a very disgusting pour. I'm sorry. They really filled this growler to the brim, so it's a little bit drippy. I will not tell Mike and Joe about that, even though they will probably hear this episode. So I will try to keep that under wraps. But thank you, I appreciate that warm welcome.
Yeah.
All right.
So we're gonna do a little talking about some drinking some beer and some Bruce Springsteen. Two of my favorite things to do in this world.
Every man's dream.
Awesome.
So one of the things you don't just drink beer, and at Bob and my age, we between the three of us sitting at this table, we have probably at least 80 years experience drinking beer. Me having the most of it.
That's true. You were a bartender.
And drank at an early age because the drinking age was younger back then. So you could do it.
18.
It was 18 back then, and I'm sure I didn't drink until I was 18.
Yeah, exactly. On the dot.
But one of the things you do with these beers, I mean, it's we can't let wine sommeliers have all the fun. You have to look at the beer. You have to smell the beer. I mean, 80% of your taste comes from your sense of smell.
The olfactory senses.
Yes, and for proof of that, take a drink of something with your nose closed, and then take it with it, without your, and you'll taste the difference in these beers. So.
Oh wow! Yeah, you don't really do as much.
I mean, so. It's got that IPA citrusy tang to it that I love lately. I'm finding that life is too short to drink crappy beer.
Yep.
Of course.
Back when I was your age, Thomas, it was understandable to drink these brand name lights, I'm not going to mention any names in case you guys decide to do a special about them.
Yeah,
but as you get
sponsorship
PBR episode,
as we get older, your taste buds change, and we want to enjoy the taste of beer. It's not just we're not just drinking beer; we're tasting beer nowadays.
Yes.
So
yes,
cheers,
gentlemen.
Cheers.
Happy Father's Day, even though it's still early June.
Yeah. What did you get me? Tell me on the episode here.
I got you a recording of the podcast. So,
this is really good.
Oh my, that is just.
You said this is the their flagship.
Yeah. Yes.
Is it on the when we go on the menu, maybe we've
It's all the way to the left usually.
The newer ones or something like that.
But this is written on the chalk wall over there.
This is really
yes.
good.
It is on their website, hopculturefarms.com, if you want to check them out.
Ask for Brian.
Yes, ask for Brian. The description under this, it says, unfiltered, pulpy, and delicious. Juicy belongs next to a pack of Gushers and a Lunchables pepperoni pizza. Soft and juicy with notes of passion fruit and mango.
Yes.
Yes.
Wow.
So
absolutely
really
couldn't agree with that more.
Yeah, this is really good.
And Hop Culture, it's a great place. They've got a nice indoor place. They've got picnic tables outside that you can enjoy.
Picnic tables are great.
All the people that work there are hardworking. They're real nice people. They treat us nice. And if I can go there and have a good beer and a good time with my family and friends,
we're
nothing wrong with that. So.
Is it
too early? Drinking and
is it too early to say that we're becoming almost regulars there now with the, which is I don't know if that's a good thing, but
yes,
with
I can definitely see
the
that.
trivia every Thursday,
of course,
draws us in. We really enjoy that. That's a lot of fun. But I think they've really done a nice job. I think with the COVID stuff, because my wife and I would go there and they would have the big long tables inside. They had to come up with something. Yeah. So now it's the smaller tables inside, but you can go outside, which is great. We did one outside. It's just a really great atmosphere. The people are the people are fun, and they got the food trucks.
I was just going to mention that. Yeah,
the food trucks too.
Yeah, they've got big brand names from like Bear's Barbecue and Hartford.
They were there last time we were there.
Yeah. To all kinds of things you really like. So, and they're pretty much every time you're there, there's always a food truck there. Now, I haven't been once and there's not one there.
Let's taste this beer. I mean, it is there's no. You drink it and you get that little hint, that little aftertaste.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
how's it hit the tongue?
Oh, it is good. This is
it's really
there
good.
is nothing wrong with this beer.
Yeah.
Yes.
What I like about the hop culture, their selection is like if you're not a big IPA kind of person, then like the mint is really good. I mean, this one right here, this is gonna be like a regular for me now.
They only gave us
really
one growler.
I only bought one growler.
You only bought one growler.
Well, I figured it would be enough for the three of us. There's some left.
I'm saying we put this show on pause for a while and
go pick up some more.
Go sit and drink some more.
The beer reconnaissance run was mildly successful, I guess.
So the sommelier, we're the sudsy sommelier.
Exactly.
So our original plan was to do an actual episode there. But due to some scheduling stuff, I wasn't really available because they're only open Thursday through Sunday or something like that.
Yes, Monday through Wednesday, I believe they're closed. So.
Yeah, so we were gonna have like a flight or something, have them talk about it. But in the future, that's definitely in the plans as well to have you guys both on as well again. Because this can't
come
be
back and drink more.
Oh yeah.
Oh no!
You're buying.
Please don't make me do this.
You're buying.
The kids buying. They were there.
So. But yeah, this is definitely a classic. I really enjoy this. They also have a lot of variety in what they have on tap there.
Yep.
Just on their website here, it says they have at least 4 New England IPAs, an Irish Stout, a Pilsner, a Kettle Sour, a Wine Ale, a Spoken Spy, and a Imperial Stout with hazelnut and vanilla.
I believe the wine ale was what your mother and sister have been drinking when we go there.
The boozy brunch.
I believe that's the one, and they really like that.
And Carrie had like the stout, which looked really good. I mean,
the Blarney boots.
The Blarney boots, how they call it. Yeah, that was like.
I'm not a big stout guy, but that's
tall
just
glass, and she's a little girl. So it was. But no, it looked really good. So like tremendous variety.
This has got a crisp taste to it. I mean, it just snaps. It's just
definitely.
Yeah, really. Oh, yeah. Where's the rest of it? Oh,
there you go.
Just sit.
Careful with the pour. So they did a fair bit of it did spill out, but thanks for them. They definitely topped us off pretty well on the growler. So
yes, well worth the visit. It's not hard to find. It's
right in Colchester,
𝗕cie Road. Look it up and get there. They're
it's a good family environment.
Yep. Yeah. Kids there, running around. There's all kinds of stuff to do.
And now transitioning a little bit, let's talk about the album of choice that we have chosen. Well, I didn't choose it. You both chose it together. But what a choice from both of you. Bruce Springsteen's Born to Run came out in 1975 under what record? What company is
Columbia.
it? Columbia Records.
Yeah,
yes. I personally, to start off with me, because of course everything's about me.
That'll change shortly.
Yes.
More about Bill. And
this is album number 3 that Bruce has put out by now. He's put out Greetings from Asbury Park, Wild, The Innocent, and East Street Shuffle. They both came out in '73. Both great albums in their own mind, or own time.
Yeah.
But then there's this album.
Yes, and I feel like a lot of what you start off by listening when you grow up is just whatever is being played around you. And my dad definitely has played a lot of Bruce Springsteen in my time. I would say top 3 artists you've played for me are him, Billy Joel, and Jimmy Buffett.
Those would be probably the 3. Yep.
Yeah, so I've heard a lot of Bruce Springsteen growing up, and a lot of the songs that I've heard, at least starting off, are all over this album. You know, mainly all of the singles, Thunder Road, 10th Avenue Freeze Out, and Born to Run. I think I've heard so many times in my life, and they've really stuck with me. You know, I think I've gotten as much as I can out of those 3 songs. Versus some of the lesser known tracks on this. But what an album. Really, it's only 8 songs, you know, only 8 tracks, only 39 minutes. But
if you're going to be great, why would you need more songs on there?
Exactly, yeah. That's something that a lot of the newer artists today kind of lack out on, because they try to get as much streaming services and much things you can throw out into the ether as you can.
And I understand that we're talking about, I mean, Bob and I are old men compared to probably, you know, half your listeners and you guys, and your tastes skew a whole different way on a lot of stuff, and I bang my head listening to, you know, you guys talk about the music you guys listen to on these podcasts and go, oh my God, no, that's not, but that's not me. This is me.
Yeah. Exactly.
I grew up with Bruce. So.
Yeah, when you say, like, it was interesting, we said like 39 minutes. And it's like you have to understand, it came out on LP, vinyl, and there was pretty much there was a limit, but maybe like 40, 45 minutes or so, the sound would start to degrade on an album. So, you know, so there's like, you got to make, and now everyone can stretch out. You can do an hour of music and CD. You can have like 14, 16 songs or whatever, at least, you know, on the CD. So this really comes out of a different era. You know, different era about, you know, about the how music was consumed as well and stuff like that. So
before we actually talk about the album, I think we should talk about just Bruce in concert and my love, my wife, who has had to put up with me and my Bruce craziness. We go to a concert. It's her first concert. We first go to dinner, and I have eaten my dinner in about 13 seconds. And let's go. Are you done? Are you done? And I don't think she even had her plate put on the table yet. And we get to the concert hall. We're sitting there. By song either number 2 or 3, she turns to me and says, "Oh my God, this is the best concert I've ever been to." And we were 2 or 3 songs into it. So. She's had to put up with my nettiness. One of my first girlfriends, Laura McDonald, is the one who introduced me to Bruce. I mean, I had heard him. I said, "Yeah, he's okay," but then I started to listen to his lyrics, and I went, "Oh my goodness!" And then I went to see him in concert for the first time in Giant Stadium.
What year was that?
This would have been '85, somewhere around there. And
Born in the USA
I believe it was the Born in the USA tour. And I could not, I had my binoculars. I was so far away in Giant Stadium, and I could not focus on him with my binoculars. And I'm wondering why. And I realized that the upper deck is shaking from everybody going up and down and dancing. And it was an amazing moment. So.
But that goes back a long time, though. His performances in concert. I mean, from even when they were sort of legendary. Even when he was
5 hours,
in
4
the
hours,
clubs, right before he hit it
no
big,
breaks.
you know. Just a tidbit, I think. And I was looking at what albums were popular. Yeah. What was really going on? Where did Bruce come out of? Like, why was this so, you know, groundbreaking? Or why did you know? And so, like, if you look at the list, right, for the top 15 records, I was just kind of perusing like Rolling Stone and various critics.
Yes.
It was all stuff, Bill, that we recognize. You know, like Pink Floyd, "Wish You Were Here" is on the list. Horses by Patti Smith was big, and he actually collaborated with a song with her. Neil Young, "Tonight's the Night." "Blood on the Tracks" by Dylan. Fleetwood Mac's first album, or their kind of first popular one, was out there. Just a bunch of Led Zeppelin, Physical Graffiti. So all these kind of things were in the mix at this time, coming out. But there wasn't a lot of. But when you think about, like, Bob Seger hadn't hit yet.
Yep.
Right? Tom Petty hadn't hit yet.
Yeah.
You know, so Bruce is kind of coming out of a certain kind
Bon
of tradition.
Jovi, you know,
Yeah, all those guys
Bruce Jr. as far
who
as
would
I'm
come out and
concerned,
really. So Bruce is kind of like coming out of
Yeah.
some tradition where he's starting, almost restarting a new one that came out. You know, that started like shortly after. You know, he got really big. I don't believe
And it's interesting that you mentioned Bob Dylan, because a lot of people were comparing him to Bob Dylan, not so much the music itself, but the poetry of the songs and what they were saying. There was a lot of people that were calling him I don't want to say the new Dylan, but you know, there were a lot of people that were using that comparison, just, you know, from what he was writing. So
it's funny. I was going to say that the person that cuts my hair, Karen, is a lovely woman. We were talking about Bruce one day. we were talking about Bruce one day. This was probably about a year or so ago. She's not a huge fan, but she said that exact same comparison.
Yeah.
Like, you can disagree if you like or dislike the music, but you can't disagree his songwriting abilities are so top notch.
And I understand a lot. I mean, we're not talking the best singer. Bruce has got that voice, you know. That's not a great voice. I understand that. I mean, you want a great voice, go listen to Pavarotti or Linda Ronstadt or, you know, Lou Rawls or you know, Aretha Franklin. But, you know, for that pure sound. But he's got that grit, man.
It's really interesting because I was listening. Well, I hadn't listened to the whole album in a long time, so I was listening to a bunch of times. And recently, so, you know, but there are some songs, Bill, in which I think the voice carries the song.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, even though it's that rough kind of growl that he's got.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not, like you said, it's not Pavarotti. Yeah. Like, the song really wouldn't be...
It would be Bruce's song if...
a song. And so I think... and we'll get into it, but there's, like Backstreet's, I think, is in a way carried by, by his voice, right, on this one. So
absolutely.
But
so one of the things that Bob and I were just mentioning was that nowadays, you know, you guys got everything on your iPod,
streaming,
all of the streaming, all that stuff. Back in our day, it was an album. It was a round piece of wax.
Yep.
And these, you know, you had side one, you had side two, and depending on how the songs were put on, you know, they could tell a story. And I find it interesting that on Springsteen's album, he ends with Backstreet and Jungleland for side A and side B, and it's the songs are about loss and betrayal and defeat and all that other stuff, and then you know, the other songs are that thumping, you know, pounding.
Yeah, it's interesting because the act of actually trying to sequence all the songs was a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
You know, back then, because they knew that people were side one was gonna end.
Yep.
People were gonna have to get up,
turn it over,
put the needle back on. You know, and like
at
you said, Bill,
or anything like that. Yeah,
it's kind of interesting. Like and we can at some point we'll start with Thunder Road Order, but each track on each first song on each side is like almost positive. Right?
Yeah.
And, you know, you got Thunder Road, you got Born to Run. It starts with that arc.
Yep.
And then it's sort of like, okay, this is what music can do. This was what escape can do. We can escape from this. We can get out of this. We can, you know, make something of ourselves. But then by the end of each side, he's really wondering whether or not music can save you. Whether or not you can get out.
It almost sounds like a play. And I think I said that to you earlier where, you know, it's building up, and the end of Act 1 is kind of, we're going to be a little, not sad, but, you know, we're back to reality.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm jumping ahead of myself, and we'll talk about, you know, Jungleland and just some of my thoughts about that as we go. But it's that same, you know, theory about, you know, just boom, 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 and then, you know.
Because you can't really structure it like you can now, where certain songs will hit and it doesn't really matter where a song goes on the album. There are some mainstream artists that can have a thematic structure to an album, or where it's like a story where you follow it along. But I don't feel like certain songs will make it onto the top 10 Billboard lists as some of these songs will do. Yeah. And it really is different because I didn't really think about when you play the music when it came out in '75. You start it from the very beginning. Yep. You have to listen to it pretty much all the way through, except for like maybe like 45s or something.
Yeah, you could skip around, but nobody was doing that.
Yeah, exactly. It's too much effort. You can't just click it.
And now, and it's funny because I was listening. I put the CD in the car today, and I'm listening to it, and I'm going to tell you, this is a bad CD to play in the car, because all of a sudden I look down at my speedometer and I'm going 85, 90 miles an hour, and because I'm singing along, and we're born to run, and we're running, and then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, I gotta back off here. I'm going a little too fast.
It's a so if you could peel the top down off your truck with a can opener, you would have that going. But it's interesting because you mentioned how you can make like a much longer record today, and maybe thematically, you can maybe the music from maybe an hour's worth of music has a certain kind of vibe to it, or a certain kind of sound. And that's one thing you can get. You can go for a theme, maybe a certain, like I say, a certain kind of sound, but maybe on an LP, I think where a lot of artists like Bruce kind of really hit it was that not only was it musically, a theme musically across the whole album, but it was lyrically thematic across the whole thing, which is a little bit harder to do. And I always think that if you're releasing a whole, back in the day, if you released an album, maybe it had some of your hits on it.
Yeah.
Okay, now you're going to make a concept album.
Yeah.
Right.
This is a whole greatest hits album, really.
And then people used to artists used to get a little backlash if they produced a 2-album set.
No,
that's like a lot.
Yeah.
What are you trying to say in 2 albums?
Exactly.
But that's why this one I think thematically, musically and lyrically is really one and the same theme, and I think it's a triumph in that.
And at this time, he has hit so big. Time magazine and Newsweek, they put him. Those are magazines that we don't have anymore. But for you younger listeners, they put him on both covers that same week. It had never been done before that. It was the first time because he had just exploded by this time. This was when he was becoming a supernova at this point. So
it's interesting. It wasn't a last gasp for him, this record.
Yeah.
But it was the 2 albums, although Bill, we like them a lot.
Yep.
We enjoy them a lot.
The critics loved them, but they were not commercial successes.
They were not big hits. No. So he was really kind of, this was a make or break. And I think he's in 10th Avenue Freeze Out, he kind of alludes to that. Where he says like I'm on my own.
Yeah. And when the big
and
band
I can't go
joins
home,
the
right?
band.
So what's he going to do after this? So and he really Born to Run took a long time. I think the single took a long time to record, and the record company was getting a little bit nervous, and so they released like Born to Run, I think, as a single, way before the album was to come out, and then it kind of gained momentum. But it really was he was talented. Everybody knew that, but I think it was a little bit of a the record company was like, wait, what do we really have here? Right? But
it's an album where you got to put your sneakers on, because no pun intended to Born to Run, but you are going to run through these songs. I mean, this is a race. I mean, he is. Yeah. He's leaving town. He's take me by the hand. We're gonna get out of town. We're gonna, we're looking at the mills and the factories, and everything is that
tough,
the smoke is billowing out of, and I don't want to be a townie, and you look at TV, and the Brady Bunch is on TV, it's a completely different
I think there's an allusion to that when we get to Jungle Land. There's an allusion to that toward the end. It's like, look at the art around us, what are people producing here, and I think there's I wonder if he had that in mind when he was writing that song. But
it's a very visual album. It makes you feel what he's feeling. It almost paints a picture, really.
Yeah.
But we should probably just kind of jump into the track list while we're here. Only 8 tracks. But
and we're gonna start with one of the best. Now, unfortunately, we can't play it on here. Do yourself a favor at home. Put this song on. Thunder Road, it is one of the best songs you'll ever hear.
Yeah.
Listen to the words to this thing. It's about love, it's about despair, it's about sex, it's about everything you could possibly think of in a song.
Yeah, and it really might be the most don't know, the most positive song. Well, Born to Run is positive, but I mean, what do you think? I mean,
the screen door slams, Mary's dress sways like a vision. She dances across the porch as the radio plays.
I mean, just the words in it, like you said, Bill, vision, faith, magic, redemption, right? Make it good. You know, what can we do now? These 2 lines take us any. I mean, it's all.
I'm no hero. That's understood. All I can offer, all the redemption I can offer, is beneath this dirty hood. He's talking about his car. You know, come on, Mary, get in the car. Let's, let's just drive in these 2 lanes. They'll take us anywhere.
Yeah, and the other thing is that I mean, how different was it, Bill, to have a rock album have so much piano intro? You know,
yes.
I mean, he say Born to Run. The intro there is classic.
Yep.
You know, hit song.
Yes.
You know, this is
depending on which way he's going. Are we starting with this nice slow melodic thing, and then he goes into these other songs where it's that bump, 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 as it takes off. But,
it's a great song. And it's
You ain't
covered.
You ain't a beauty, but hey, you're all right. You know, it's
only Bruce can get away with saying that.
Yeah, I don't. You're not gonna be Miss America, but come with me. Let's take this ride together.
Well, when I'm singing this to my wife, I usually leave that part out. I say something else. I make my own.
And I believe, just one quick note on that. I thought I read this somewhere where the original concept was to have Thunder Road, the first song and the last song, and one of them would be acoustic, and then the other one would be a live version of it. That was, I believe, I read that somewhere where he was going to do both of those.
You've seen him live. Has he done it acoustic live before? When you've seen him,
I've only seen him acoustic once. I've seen him with the E Street Band. I've seen him solo. I've seen him with backup guys who I didn't even know who the hell they were.
Post Clarence days.
No, before that, there was a time where the E Street Band kind of said, "Yeah, we're good for now," and he went out with backup musicians, and every show was just electric. But it's not until the E Street Band gets there. So
and the other thing on this song, lyrically, it's great. But then he also kind of introduces, I think, some of the themes for the rest of the record.
Oh,
absolutely.
And then he also mentions, he also name checks Roy Orbison, right, singing for the Lonely. And if there's anyone who has a voice, a tremendous voice, but also sings songs of heartbreak and loneliness and being on the other side of the relationship. It's like Roy Orbison, right?
That's true. I think about that.
And I think he's that's one of the things that people say this album was kind of a near perfect or attempt at a Roy Orbison, Bob Dylan, and Phil Spector,
that haunting,
right? that kind of thing. And
then we jump into 10th Avenue Freeze Out. So now we've gone in a completely different direction, and we're gonna hear the horns of Clarence Clemens and it's
the funniest song on the record for me. Like when I listened to it a long time ago when I was a young coot, right?
Yes.
But it was like one of my favorite tracks on the record.
Yep.
But it's
great in concert.
Oh, I'm sure. Okay. The song has the most groove to it.
We had seen him the week before he went to New York City here in Hartford, and he does 10th Avenue Freeze Out, and it's his introduction to the band. And he everybody's got the hardest working, earth shaking, air conditioning, quaking, history, all of that stuff. And he gets to where he's introducing Clarence Clemens, and he goes, do I have to even say his name? No. And everyone starts chanting Clarence, and he gets to that line about changes made uptown, and the big man joins the band. They do like a handshake, high five handshake, and the place erupts. Just erupts when he does that. So then we go and see him after Clarence has passed, and he gets to that same spot, and the big man joins the band, and everything stops. And there's a video that their little montage are doing. And it's 10 minutes of
at least
cheering, at least. It was unbelievable. You were with us on that, right?
The XO Center,
That was just a hair on the back of your neck just stood up.
That was the Wrecking Ball tour.
Yes.
Good song. Like I said, to me, the funniest song on the record.
So the next one we're going to go into is Night. Now, I'm going to say a few things about Night. It's not my favorite song, and it's a great song. But something has to be your not favorite.
Of course,
And to me, this is my not favorite. The funny thing is, it's, again, that it starts off almost identical
Yeah.
to Born to Run. It's got that ba 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 ba,
Yep.
the drums,
Yep.
and then sax comes in, and
Yep.
it's that same, and then he's off to the races with the song.
Yep.
I mean, I kind of listened to it, and I was thinking, one of the things that Bruce does on this record, it really, is he takes familiar themes, say from, I don't know, American mythology or rock and roll mythology, and he kind of boils them down, and he kind of puts them in a really succinctly, and then he kind of takes them from there. For example, if you listen to the song, I kept thinking, it's one of those, okay, my 9-to-5 job sucks.
Yep.
Right? And I can't wait for Saturday.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's like as old as, rock and roll. That's like as Little
Yeah.
Richard, right? It's Saturday night and I just got paid.
Yeah.
Fool about my money, don't try to save.
Yeah.
Bang it. Or the Easy Beats, that song Friday in My Mind.
Yep.
It's like, I kind of print out I had to listen to that because it reminded me so much of that. It's like, do the 5-day grind once more. I know nothing else that bugs me more than working for the rich man. Hey, I'll change that scene one day. And it's all about, that 9-to-5 job, which you're kind of stuck in.
Working for a living. Is that his song?
But then he,
For the weekend.
yeah. But then he kind of, and then he takes it though to
That's
that.
Working on the Highway.
Working on the highway. I'm sorry.
And he takes it to that next level though, where like all those songs were like, yeah, I'm in a crummy job.
Yeah.
But I got something to look forward to.
Yeah.
But in this song, it's like his job is like a soul crushing, experience.
The first two lines.
The boss man's giving me hell.
Yeah, you get up every morning at the sound of the bell. You get to work late, and the boss man's giving you hell.
And I feel
So you're out on a midnight run.
and at the end, it's almost like, and you survive till the night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not, and it's like, so it's keeping with that theme. I think theme for the record, and I think it gets you wondering.
And we still
is Saturday,
throw-
is Saturday Night enough?
Yeah.
For him.
We
right?
still throw a little of it there, losing
Yeah.
your heart to a beautiful one. Yeah,
which is
So,
the classic part of.
I'm
of
working
that.
hard all day. I'm
Yep.
I'm grimy from working in the mill or whatever I'm doing, and there's a pretty little miss, sitting at the corner or whatever. Yep.
And yeah.
This I lyrically, it's definitely he's at his top of his game on this one. The only thing I have wrong with this song is that I feel like it's too derivative of "Bad Out of Hell" by Meatloaf. If you listen to this song and then you listen to "Bad Out of Hell" by Meatloaf, they have almost exactly the same like
I could see that.
chord changes and differences, especially if you listen to like the chorus.
Yep.
It almost it sounds very much like it,
Yep.
and but again, like you said, it's still good. I'm not gonna go out and say it's my favorite because it's not. It's actually my least favorite on the album.
Yeah.
But it,
that.
It's still a great song, but
I'm a prisoner of my dreams. I think
it's
is
number
in there. So it's
8 to
definitely
me
not-
on the album. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely going down a dark road here from Thunder Road, right?
Yes,
here,
yeah. This
Yeah.
is-
And things are not going so great at this point, and it's like, okay, are these small victories really enough?
yeah.
To kind of get you through. So
And then we're going to end this side. We're going to end side A or side 1 with Backstreets.
Yeah, definitely.
It's got a little defeat in it. It's a little betrayal.
His ambiguously gendered friend Terry.
Yeah. One soft infested summer, me and Terry became friends. Now he has used Terry in other songs later
really?
on in life. Yeah. Terry passes away, and he does a song about. He did a song about that, which
I think they said in sometimes when he does it live, he
Terry's
does use
something or
the sort
other.
of pronoun like
yeah.
it leads
Stay
people to
forever
believe
friends.
But it doesn't really matter, right? And it's
Yeah.
all about a
Slow
broken
dance in the
relationship
dark
or,
on the beach at Stockton's Wing. Yeah, Desperate Lovers Park. Yep. It's
Another piano intro
Yep.
song that builds
Yeah.
up a bit more later in the back half.
Yeah, and it does. You can, it's that thumping bam, 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 bam piano, and then you hear the drums start to start to rumble, and then we get into the saxophone and
it's
hiding on the back streets.
Yeah, I mean, Rolling Stone named this the number 6 best Springsteen song of all time.
Really,
Which is kind of interesting. I this one of those where I think it,
think about that.
Yeah, where the music, like I said, it has that piano start and it kind of builds. The music
Similar
is
to Born to Run.
really tells you what's going on too, with the song.
Oh, yeah.
It's just really good. The piano, which is great. The keyboards, are like I said, that
underrated.
mix of Bob Dylan on Blonde on Blonde. They said, it's more of a crashing kind of keyboard part in there, which is cool. It's a really good song.
It's definitely a good combo of a lot of different rock styles that you hear in the time, because there are some piano driven rock songs like maybe by Elton John or saxophone driven rock songs at the time, kind of by the older style, and he brings a lot of those styles together on this. My only issue, and I do love this song, it sounds a lot like Darkness on the Edge of Town, which came out after.
That's a good.
But I prefer Darkness on the Edge of Town, personally, at least just personally. But, he does that with a lot of his songs where the motives and the chord progressions do sound a little similar from one another. But again, the song is...
And it ends Act 1, as far as I'm concerned. Like I said, it's the play.
Yep.
We've now ended Act 1.
Yep, some uncertainty.
Yeah. And then we start Act 2. And, what shall we start Act 2 with? Maybe, I don't know, one of the greatest songs of all time.
At least one of the best title tracks of all time.
Yes. One of the... Did you not hear me? I said one of the greatest songs of all time. Maybe you didn't hear me.
It's good. No, I'm not. Listen,
You sounded like there's a but after that.
No, of course not.
Yeah.
This is one of those classic songs that I've listened to many, many times over my life. This was, I don't know if you guys remember this, when I did my guitar lessons. I was the only one to do one with a backing track of Bruce without guitar, and I did a little mini concert where I played guitar to this song. It was one of my favorites, and my strap broke in the middle of it.
I do
remember
swung
out underneath me, and I had to sit down real quick and finish it, and I think I adapted pretty well.
And again, the lyrics paint this picture. It's we sweat it out on the streets of a runaway American dream. We sit at night, or we ride, through the mansions of glory in our suicide machines. It's
it's got in each line. It's got a positive and a positive image and a maybe a not so positive image.
He's reaching that hand out again. Wendy, let me in. I want to be your friend. I want to guard your dreams and visions. Let's go.
I think this is also one of the best musical breaks or bridges in all music.
Couldn't agree more.
That build up that he keeps doing, and then he hits you with that last final verse.
Yeah.
I wish we could play it here for you.
Yeah, it goes from that. Yeah, I was. It goes that progression builds up right from those chords in the middle of the bridge. It's really great.
Oh yeah.
And it's also I was trying to figure out what the thing that gives it a little bit of that lightness or whatever is that glockenspiel that's being played.
Yes.
And it kind of gives the song a little bit of that. I don't know.
I don't know if Roy's playing that or if it's Danny.
I think it was Danny Federici was playing that, but there's so many cool parts. To the song. There's so many little. I don't know how many hooks you can have in a song, but
and Clarence's guitar,
but there's a lot of hooks.
Sax.
I mean, it's so thematic of a late teenager, early 20s, right at that age where you're just itching to burst out, and just explode and set the world on fire.
So that's
if you can't tell, I really like this song.
You like this song, Bill?
This is a good one.
But it's not my favorite. I mean, as great as it's. Thunder Road kind of holds the special spot in my heart, and the best song we haven't even touched on the best song of the album yet, which is coming up.
The one after that is She's the One.
Yep.
This one.
Yeah.
This one's
it's very driving. You can it kind of gives you this sense that they're on the freeway. They're kind of gliding along. It's very fast.
It's two different songs. If you listen to it, it starts with the tinkling of the ivory's ear, and it's almost got this fairy-like sound in the beginning, and then all of a sudden, dun 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 dun.
It's got he's that Bo Diddley beat in the middle.
I said Buddy Holly. You're right. It's Bo Diddley. Yes,
Bo Diddley beat.
And I thought of that listening to it today on the way in. I said,
we talked a little about Roy Orbison, and it was interesting because a couple of things on this one. One is I think that if Roy Orbison had done a Bruce cover, I think this one,
yes,
perfectly fits Roy Orbison. I can hear him singing like this song.
Yeah,
it's that she's really kind of getting me right. You know, and so that was one thing, and then like you said, Bill, that tempo change, that drum change, and then. I was listening to this. I hadn't listened to it in a long time, and I was listening to it on my iPhone. I had my headphones on, and I don't know what you guys feel about it, but I was like, this song headphones just aren't the right way to listen to this
you gotta
album.
Turn this up to 11.
It wasn't like in the 70s where like, people say, you got to listen to like Pink Floyd with your headphones on, right? Because they're doing so much. Yeah. Guitars are bouncing from the right to the left and doing all this sound kind of stuff. And I'm like, this album just would not work.
Yes, yeah.
In with headphones, and I was thinking, he should have recorded the whole damn thing in mono.
Pretty much, yeah.
And then this song he actually did record in mono.
Oh yeah.
So it was like it's sort of a nod to those great records you like, in the 50s and 60s. That was I read that later. I was like, wow, okay, but. This is definitely not a song, Bill, that we, you gotta listen to it with the speakers on it.
And again, we're talking about love, and, she's the one with her killer grace and her secret place that no boy can fill, with her hands on her hips. Oh, that smile on her lips. I mean, the lyrics on this just one kiss, and she'd fill them long summer nights with her tenderness.
Yep.
Yes, that secret pact you made.
The most girl-driven track.
Yeah. Yep.
A lot of the album is like breaking free and kind of not necessarily like hating the world around you, but kind of wanting to change it. And this one is definitely the most girl-centric, most love-centric, which is a smaller theme in the rest of the songs, but this one I would say shines the most in that aspect.
And, so Thomas, had you heard the whole album through, or just songs a little bit here and there? The songs.
Well, that's what I was going to mention. Growing up, I've heard. Mainly just like best of singles and like songs here and there. I'm sure I've listened to this album all the way through before, but I haven't in a very long time.
He's heard it because I've played it in the car, I'm sure, when he was a young child.
But I mean, that happened with you and your grandpa too. Like he would play music that.
Oh yeah, big band music. I mean, that's
swing, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Dixieland. So. I would say this one and Meeting Across the River and Night were the least I was used to. I'm not saying good or bad.
Okay.
I'm saying I was the least adjusted to them because I haven't heard them as much as I have the other ones. So it's not my favorite. I would say it's the most classic in terms of like his influences. Like he isn't changing a lot of what he's like you said, like Roy Orbison or Dylan or something like that. It's very much in that same vein. Like, he's not necessarily making it his own, but he is in the same way.
Right.
But in terms of inventiveness, in terms of that kind of changing it to be his own, I think he does it better on other tracks. But, again, I do like this track, though. It's good.
Yeah. Yep.
It is, I like it a lot. We get into... my favorite.
This is your favorite.
This is my favorite on this album. And I love Born to Run and Thunder Road. Those would be my three songs.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
And maybe 10th Avenue Freeze Out only because you just the concert venue of it. But there's something about this song. The first time I ever heard this song, I had already pictured it in my mind as a black and white film noir. Actually, brown and white almost. I can see Eddie, you can see New York City. It's a hot summer night. The window's open. Eddie's sitting out on the fire escape. Can you lend me a few bucks? Can you give me a ride?
Yep.
It's just, and we're going to go do a robbery.
Well, as you know, Thomas, yesterday, or was this the other day when we got together, when your dad started talking about this, and we almost started talking about the whole song. We could talk about the song for an hour. And because our thoughts on it, at least as far as the visuals, were exactly the same. I keep thinking, Bill, it was like those 1950s New York black and white movies, like Frank Sinatra, the man with the golden arms, sitting on the fire escape. Yeah, right on the.
It's hot. He's in a tank top.
It's just the.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
that change your shirt. he tells him that in the song, stuff this in your pocket, it'll look like you're carrying a friend. We're talking about a gun here.
Yeah.
And Cherry's going to walk, because I hocked her radio so I could buy this gun so that I could, make some money. And
yeah, and the thing about it is, it's an interesting choice, I think, because he's got Clarence in the band, right?
Yep.
He's got a saxophone player in the band. So why go with a trumpet here?
Randy Brecker's trumpet,
right?
Oh.
Why, but it's the perfect fit. Like it gives you that, Bill, that image that we're thinking about, right? With those movies,
sound, the cornet,
and in the other songs where we've got where the songs are building up with the drama, almost like going along with the lyrics. This one, the trumpet is telling you. They're telling you a completely different story than the guy who's singing the song.
And this to me, this song is. You listen to the other 7 songs in this, and they all kind of have that same thing. This song is completely out of left field. It has nothing to do to me with this album, other than everything being in black and white for me on this.
It's like I said, in these movies, it takes the film director half an hour to get to the story, to get to the loser, criminal, right? But in here, it's like right off the bat. But I always keep thinking, Bill, if you were to come to me, with a cockamamie idea, right? Hey Bob, let's build some water theme parks in the Gobi Desert, right? and you're talking to me about this great idea, and there's a guy behind you with a trumpet.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, Bill,
that's
I hear the words you're saying are English. They're English. Mm-hmm. They're syntactically making sense. Yeah. They're put together. But the guy who's playing the trumpet behind you, he's telling me a different story. He's telling me a different story. He's telling me to I'm not going to listen to what you're saying. I'll listen to that guy because he's telling me the real story.
And it's just trumpet and piano. It's just that ding ding ding.
This is one of those things where, like you said, it could be anything. You could be talking about anything, but I'm listening to those guys.
Yep.
With the trumpet and the piano, because they're telling you what's really the deal, what the real deal is here.
And I'm gonna get this money. I'm gonna throw it on a bed. I'm gonna go out walking. Eddie, can you get us a ride? And that's how the song ends. It's just so good.
And it ends.
Yeah,
it doesn't finish a story. You're filling in the rest of it.
Come on, we're going. Let's go. Let's get across the
river. Is Eddie going to go with them?
Yeah.
Yeah. It almost
it'll be part 2.
Part 2.
But it just leaves it. Like you said, Bill. This is just I don't know.
Remember
the sleeper song.
I couldn't agree more. Yes.
Yeah. That's probably what I would say.
And it's just
we'll get there, but pretty much. The trumpet really adds a layer to the whole song. I think it adds a song behind the song. It's almost like a response to what he's saying in the song.
Exactly. I wrote down the trumpet is a Greek chorus.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a great
in this song.
Yep.
That's what I was thinking about.
And now we're coming down that hill. We've gone up from Thunder Road, 10th Avenue, Born to Run, and now we got to come down the hill a little bit, guys. And Bruce is starting to put the brakes on this, so he gives you this song as kind of a let's glide into the last song
that's a good point.
Of the play here.
That's where where you said we're putting the songs in the
there's
right
an order.
sequence.
There's a reason that these are in this order.
Let's let everyone take a breath.
Yeah.
We did Born
You're
to
all
Run. We did
sweaty.
She's the One. Now we're gonna take it down a notch a little bit, and then we're gonna.
Yeah, I think it's a great track that really provides that.
And
extra.
then we're gonna end our show with Jungle Land, and I'm not talking our show. I'm talking Bruce's show.
Kind of.
This is the song. And for some reason there's a sweetness to this. I know it's kind of weird for me to say that, but there's a sweetness to this song that.
Of course. Yeah. The piano again.
Yeah,
and the intro is and the violins, I think, give you that.
You never had violin. Did you have any violin on the rest of the album? Or
no,
just on this one.
Yeah, just on this one. Yeah.
Yeah, when those strings come in, and
the quietest of quiets.
Yeah.
This one is the most roller coaster for me. It's almost in separate sections because it's it's 10 minutes, right?
And again, the song kind of is almost 2 parts. It almost stops, and then he starts it again, and then Clarence comes in with 14 minutes of saxophone.
I love it.
And that is where you realize that man is a god.
Yep.
There is no better saxophone player out there in rock and roll than Clarence Clemens.
And more just absolute god tier lyricism on this, you know.
Yeah.
Especially even in just the intro.
Oh,
You know, together we take a stab at romance and disappear down Flamingo Lane. Drinking warm beer. A barefoot girl sitting on the hood of a Dodge. Drinking warm beer. It's like all these settings.
Local
ideas.
cops, cherry tops. You know, that's what they used to call them because they had the red. Used to have one red light on top of the cop cars, so they called them cherry tops.
And he has all characters in this one. No one's named.
Magic Rat.
You know, they got these great.
There's no Wendy. There's no Mary. There's no Cherry. You know, none of his girls got. There's no names in this one.
Yep.
It is. It's a great way to end the story.
Yep.
You know.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's the ending is like.
Yeah.
A bummer.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's just like.
It leaves you feeling almost. In terms of the thematic side of it, it leaves you with many unresolved feelings.
Yeah.
It doesn't end on, you know, this is how you should feel, and it's a good thing. Yeah.
Right.
But I think in terms of the music, and in terms of that feeling that it gives you, I think it's one of the most cathartic and like emotionally.
Yeah, because after that verse, it right.
Yeah, outside the streets on fire and a real death waltz between what's flesh and what's fantasy.
And think about, you know, where he was in his career. He's looking around. This is all about, a lot of it's about like what's going on around him, like, you know, what the music scene's like.
Yep.
He's saying, and the poets down here don't write nothing at all.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
They just stand back and let it all be. Is he talking about his contemporaries?
Maybe. Just
right?
kind of content with the status quo.
Where does he fit? I mean, like you said, Bill, the whole hype about him being you know, the next Dylan, right?
Yeah.
Just, you know, is there a little bit of a shot at maybe some of the other his contemporaries who maybe aren't?
Is he talking about the news? You know, newscasters who are just, you know, letting this stuff happen on the streets. I mean,
and then the worst
when he
thing,
comes on, we'll have to ask him. So
they wind up wounded, but not even dead. I mean, that's
you know, crazy.
And then, but yeah,
it's
oh my god, when he hits those wails at the end. I forget, there's some comedian who said like they were listening to this and they like pulled over in their car and just started crying when they heard those wails that he hits. Like,
how'd that go?
So what do you think of that, Thomas, as a young lad? As a young singer? I mean,
he's got a little bias in him because I have ingrained a lot of my old man music in him.
Yes.
And I've basically, when he was a youngster, told him what is good and what is bad. So I never let him make his own decision.
But just like, you know, like when he does these wails and he does like the kind of, you know, do you think it worked or didn't, or, you know? Or...
In terms of this song and in terms of that moment specifically, I think it's perfect. Yeah. If you look at it in a bubble, I'm sure you could say, oh, he's not hitting that note perfectly. Yeah. Or this could be fixed, that could be fixed. But it's the emotions that he's talking about on the song. It's raw enough to the point where it's not too... He keeps it real. And that's really important, especially for what the song is trying to provide to the listener. Like, you know, it's not glossed up. It's not, you know, these kind of 70s disco-ish, like, larger-than-life things. He's very much getting to the heart of... the world around him,
and we're not auto-tuning these songs, folks.
No,
you know that's Bruce. That's his grit. You know, I'm hoping I can hit that note the way you want it, and sometimes you'll hear on one of his songs, you know, down the road where he'll throw a little falsetto in there, and you're like, oh, and then you kind of listen to the song, and you're like, you know, that's really a good song. You know, I can live with the falsetto that might be a little rough to hear, but again, you know, he's not Linda Ronstadt with the perfect voice. You know,
yeah.
There is because, you know, it's called Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band, so he's going to be the focal point.
Oh yeah.
But a lot on this album, like you said, it's not very guitar driven. I mean, obviously it is. But
there are guitar solos in there.
Yeah, but he incorporates so many other parts of the band where it's not just him being the focus. You know, a lot of it is Clarence.
The Hall of Fame inducted the E Street Band at one point. They didn't induct. They had already had Bruce in there, and then they inducted the E Street Band. So they were a separate entity unto themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah,
a little steam in it.
No, it's. I'm glad we did. I'm glad I kind of got to listen to it again. Like I listened to it a lot, of course, because I hadn't heard it. But it like I said, made me listen to it a little bit more closely than I have in a long time. It made me think about things like, you know, what tradition has Bruce coming out of, right? I mean, he was labeled as like, unfortunately, for him, probably the next Dylan and things like that, because
loner in high school, he was
stuff like that. But like I was thinking, where does Bruce? Yeah. Where does he kind of fit in
shower
that?
Off the dirt.
That kind of continuum of American. Rockers.
Very Americana. But
I'm going to tell you
that's the whole
that this beer and this album were a great combo together.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah. So let's go over our favorite tracks. I would say, me personally, I think my favorite track is Jungle Land. I think it just ties the album up together perfectly. Yes, it is a bit longer. It's closer to 10 minutes. But I think all the parts together, they just work so perfectly. He does the classic thing where he starts it off very slight with the violin and the small piano right in the first verse chorus, builds it back up, hits you with a guitar solo that's really nice, the amazing lyricism. I mean, obviously across the whole album, it's great. That just, I usually don't say a 3-minute saxophone solo is legendary, but in this case, I think it is. It really just it leaves me in awe almost, and then he brings it back down a little bit, and then just hits you at the very end with those really fast pianos and the screams. It takes a lot of emotion out of you, and I think it's got to be at least one of my it's in the top 50 best songs of all time for me, at least. So I would say Jungle Land's my favorite.
What's your least favorite?
No, we all say our favorites, and then we go into those favorites.
Go ahead, Robert. What do you?
Well, I was going to say, I mean, Meeting Across the River might be number 2 or 3, but I just think Born to Run.
That's totally fair.
It's just my favorite. I mean, it's just I love that drum kick in the beginning, that and it's just great to listen to. I can listen to it, over and over again. Mm-hmm. And it's got all the themes of the record in it, and it's a great rock song. I mean, I would put it up there with, one of the greatest rock songs of all time. But I don't know, maybe I love the beat, I love the drum, I love the whole.
It is such a good song that I almost have to take it out of the voting, because it is that good a song, and it's that obvious a choice. It is.
I would say that too.
It is the song. And like I said, for me, it would come down to the other two. Meeting Across the River, which, by the way, originally was known as The Heist. That was the original title of it. Just that piano and Randy Brecker's trumpet there, it's haunting. And then Thunder Road, it's just that, you can feel him reaching his hands saying, come on, let's go. Just you and me, let's go. Get in the car, let's go. 10th Avenue Freeze Out would be one of those. I've seen him in concert, and it just shakes you to the core when he plays that, especially now with Clarence being gone. But it would have to be those other two, probably 1 and 2, 1A, 1B, 1A, 1A.
So what would be your least favorite song?
I think I said it before. To me, it's Night. It's a great song, but if I have to pick 1 through 8, it's going to be 8.
It's fair, yeah.
It's got that same setup that Born to Run has, and it's the lyrics are great, but it's the one song that I'm not whistling in the car or singing in the car. Yeah. All the others, I'm singing in the car every time.
Yeah, I would probably agree. For pretty much the exact same reasons. It's not as catchy. It does have its moments, but not necessarily as.
I would agree with you guys. It's not. I talked a little bit about it.
That's like what's the ugliest model,
But like my least.
And go back and listen to it, and then think about Bad Out of Hell, and think.
It definitely
has a lot of comparisons between that. I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, so I would say Night.
Okay,
as well.
And what would you say is your sleeper or your dark horse pick? So probably a song that's not as popular in the Bruce canon, but you think has got to be mentioned for the people who are listening.
Well, boy.
I mean, you said it before.
My sleeper was Meeting Across the River. Only because there are so many other ones that people know so well, but that was mine.
It would have to be the sleeper because you're right. Very few people know that. But having picked it as one A and 1A, then I would have to say 10th Avenue Freeze Out is just that.
So now we get to the final rating of the album,
which I'm gonna
out of 5.
Out of 5 stinks. You got to
do out of 10.
You got to do out of 10 because
I think we should do out of 10
because you're rating it. It's like saying between 0 and 1. What do you rate it? You got to give it, or out of 100 even.
Sure. All right. Well, let's do out of 10 then. Out of 10.
Out of 10, I'm giving it a 9.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep.
Why?
The only reason I'm not giving it a 10 is probably Night. Again, and it's a great song. It's just.
Yeah, I was going to say 9.
It's the song I'm going to get caught speeding to. Yeah, it is. I mean, the album I'm going to get caught speeding.
Because I think we were talking about this, like the greatest ones of all time. I think this ranks pretty highly, right? It must be in the top 20 or so,
it is.
right?
It's the 21st on the
which I will fight them on.
Yeah,
but,
you'll fight them on. I'll say from is this his best for a major artist like Bruce? I mean, is this his best album? So it should be definitely in the top. It should be in the top 20, probably.
Yeah.
But
I don't know how it's not in the top 10. Is it his best album? Yes, absolutely. Critically, maybe not. If you listen to some of the critics, but the critics, they're.
I would agree. I would say it's a 9. I think this one for me personally is tied with Born in the USA. I think I like them equally.
Born in the USA was more commercially.
Oh, absolutely! It was his second breath.
And I believe it had 7 hits that came off of that.
Exactly.
That he
That's
released.
why I love it so much.
Oh, yeah.
But in terms of all-time classic Bruce songs, this one percentage-wise, I think is definitely
this is the one
of his best.
He burst through the door on this
one. So I'm glad we all agree on that because this is definitely a good one. But now pivoting back. Yep. What's your rating out of 10, I guess, on the Hop Culture's @𝗕cie and the 𝗕cie? I gotta get a little more sip.
Well, let's see. I've had the Mint. What's the other one? The Eleanor. A few of the other ones. I think if I like when we go Thursday for trivia and we
come join us.
We win.
Yes.
Don't challenge.
I would definitely. This would be like my number one choice when I went there. So this is like. Out of 10, from the ones they have, this is like a 9 for me.
Oh,
9.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, this one I like a little better than the Mint, although the Mint is really good there. But
okay.
I'm going to rate this with one of the songs. I am going to call this the Jungle Land of songs.
Wow.
Or Jungle Land of beers. Yes.
Wow.
It's strong. It's sweet. It's it finishes the album. It finishes the night perfectly. All I need to drink this is some strings, some violins, and Clarence Clemens playing behind me. You're right.
Yeah.
Grab a trumpet for
you. You're right. It's I would
very far away trumpet.
Very far away. Yeah.
8.5 to 9. Yeah. Right in that. It is right in my wheelhouse of beers that I like.
Yeah, I would say probably about an 8.5 for me, somewhere between an 8 and a 9.
Yep.
It doesn't try to be something that's too over the top and flashy or like has some kind of gimmick to it. It's very much to the point. It's got this earthy almost. You can taste the hops very very well in it. Some hop driven beers can be a bit too much for me, but I think this has a good balance of that and a little bit of that citrus. It's got a little bit of that. What did it say?
It snaps at you. I mean,
you can taste like the very slight hints of that mango that they have in what they said.
Yep.
It's 7%. It's not gonna.
Yeah.
It's not a little. It's not gonna be like those 5% grapefruit beers that those Leinenkugels you like.
Yep.
But it's also not a double where you can't drive home after it.
Absolutely. Yep.
It's right in that middle section, and I think it paired very well with this album too.
This bat's third in the lineup.
It was really good.
Yeah. That's third in the lineup.
Yeah, I would put this third.
This might be lead. This is lead off for me though.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
This is a little lead off. Yeah.
It gets on base.
We may have to do a baseball themed podcast and
Yep.
Awesome.
Thomas, thank you for having us.
Yeah,
Father's Day.
Yeah,
Happy Father's Day,
Happy Father's Day, everyone. Yes.
Yeah.
So let me give some shout outs real quick. hopculturefarms.com. That's their website. They have some great beers. Go check all of them out. They have some that are bottle if you want to take them to go. If you want to go to the brewery itself, it's pretty good as well.
Ask for Brian.
Ask for Brian. It's my dad's other love.
Yeah.
They have a whole bunch of beers on tap that they're pretty. It's a pretty nice place. I don't think I need to shout out Bruce Springsteen. I'm pretty sure you know about him by now.
Who?
Some guy.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Bruce Street Spring.
Yeah. The boss.
Yes. So yeah. Episode 40 will be out next week. We'll have Mike and Joe back by then.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. They
we're
actually...
going to let the public speak and see.
Yeah, we'll put it to a vote.
Listen, people, get out there and start telling your friends about this podcast.
Yeah.
Yes.
They do a
really
good
great,
job,
yeah.
and
Awesome.
we need to spread the word even more. Tell your friends to tell their friends.
Yes, and this next episode will have Olivia Rodrigo, the #1 album in the country, Sour, will be the next album we'll do for that. We're actually going to try to do that on the water. We're actually going to plan on going out on our boat and try to do it on the have a nice themed day. It's going to be very nice. If not, then we'll see. But we're going to have a bunch of sours with that as well. We're going to do a bit of a taste test just because it'll be the very sour themed episode, and maybe a guest. We're not sure yet. So get excited for that one. But thank you guys so much for being on. I really do appreciate that.
Thank you, son.
We've been talking about doing an episode for a while, and I'm glad this one came out on Father's Day. So
you're my favorite youngest son.
Wow, thank you. That's such a high honor as being the only one. So thank you guys so much for listening. Hops and Bops podcast. We're streaming on Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And for Bill, for Bob, and for me, we will see you next time. Thank you very much.